Hi resellers, YouTubers, and thrifters. My name is Carrie, and my channel here on YouTube is Be Carried Away. I'm a sometimes part-time, sometimes full-time reseller, meaning that I thrift primarily, although I do go to some estate sales, garage sales, church rummage sales, and the like, to find items that are undervalued to resell for profit. I do sell a little bit of everything, and I loved the comment on my recent video that I'm an everything seller because I love the everything bagels. So I think of myself now as kind of like the everything bagel. So I do love to sell clothing, especially vintage clothing, but all kinds of clothing because it's so easy to ship. And for me, it's quite easy to process. I also love to sell other kinds of vintage items and really anything of value that's undervalued in a thrift store or another place to purchase. I don't have any bins near me, so I'm generally purchasing at regular thrift stores, so I pay very careful attention to when the sales are, which dates, and all of that. So today's video, I'm going to jump into my high-end sales as of recently. I had about 14 or 15. I'm counting these as $50 and up. So I'm just recently, in the past couple of months, since April and May, been re-upping, reviving my reselling platforms. And the reason for that is that I teach at the university level during the semester. And so I'm not going to be teaching again until next fall. So I have a long time to be able to devote to my reselling, which I love to do and I've been doing for 20 plus years, mostly primarily on eBay, but I do like the other platforms as well, and I do cross list. So I'm going to go through with you the top dollar item that sold recently, one of which is a really important lesson in making sure that you're keeping up on learning, always learning new items, learning new categories, finding out what's selling. I watched a video in the morning from a new reseller that I had never watched before, so I was looking for new content, watched the video. She suggested to be on the lookout for something. I went to the thrift store that day. I found an item that sold for almost $200 just because I watched that video in the morning. So stay tuned for that and the rest of the video. Thanks. That's step one, and we're actually really close to the thrift store, so we're walking over there now. Okay, thanks so much, first of all, for anybody who's recently joined or is new to the channel. I had more views on the last video than I've had in videos I've made over the years, so I was really excited. And there are several of you who are brand new, so welcome. And to my loyal subscribers and watchers, thanks so much, guys, for sticking with me all this time, and I'm really looking forward to catching up with all of you. So I'm starting this morning with my coffee cup from my personal collection. If you recognize this, these are cats, and this is by Laurel Burch. And I specifically chose this morning because I did have a sale of a Laurel Burch item that was a high dollar sale. So for this video, I thought it was appropriate to pull this out for my morning coffee. This has a chip in it, which is why I kept it. Otherwise, I would have sold this. I did buy it for resale, and I was so excited to grab it, I didn't see the chip there. So Laurel Burch, if you don't know her, was an artist who creates this really beautiful, colorful world of animals and abstract prints and all kinds of things. And she did pass away in the mid-2000s, I believe, but her daughter has kept up her legacy and her company. And so Laurel Burch still sells all kinds of things, from jewelry to apparel to housewares to mugs and all kinds of things. And so her artistry was her mom's artistry. Laurel Burch's artistry is the driving force behind the company, and they have some really cool stuff, and she definitely has a loyal following. So some of the older vintage stuff can sell very high. Some of it sells for almost nothing, so you really have to comp the items that you're looking for. So this cat's mugs, for example, might have gone for around 20 bucks. However, I sold this kimono or robe, reversible, for $70. This sold on Poshmark, and this is the Laurel Burch this is kind of the quintessential Laurel Burch item that would sell for high money. So somebody is going back and saying, you know, this is a beautiful piece of apparel, and wearing that robe every morning. I mean, it would just be cozy to kind of, if you love Laurel Burch, kind of have your coffee in your morning kimono and kind of just relax around the house. So keep your eye out on this brand, and don't pick it up automatically though, because you really definitely, this is something that you want to comp each and every time that you find something from Laurel Burch. So I'm going to go through my eBay sales here next, and I'm going to pull out all of the high dollar, $50 and plus, I'm calling it, that sold recently. So I've been recently upping my game here with my stores and Poshmark closet, and trying to get back into reselling. So the first item, I think the first item that I have here, okay, just sold 2 days ago, and it is this bamboo and rattan console table with a glass top and 2 chairs. I got this for free. If you go back and look at some of my other videos, you'll see that I love to source free items. When I was in New Jersey, I'm in upstate New York right now. Mike is a travel nurse. When we were in New Jersey, we lived in a pretty wealthy area, and there was always free stuff being given away as people were remodeling or as people were moving out of apartments. There was a really transient population there right outside of New York City. And so there was always great stuff. Almost my entire home is furnished with free furniture and housewares and all kinds of stuff. It's crazy how much stuff we source for free. This was something I thought we were going to keep. I just didn't really have a place for it, and it's not really the style of the home here, which is, you know, a lake house kind of thing. And so I put this on the market. I put this up on eBay and other platforms. It really generally sells for $800 to $1,200. So I decided it was time to just get rid of it. I put it into my 30 or 40% off sale, lowered the price, and this table sold for $347.19, plus the buyer paid $200 in shipping, so that can be shipped through UShip. And if you're not familiar with UShip, it's a wonderful service. It's a share economy type of business where people, it's a lot like DoorDash or Grubhub, because shippers pick stuff up and negotiate with the shipper and drop stuff off. So it's a great way for people who are driving around the country to make money, and it works very, very similarly to something like DoorDash. So this will ship that way, and my profit on that is going to be about $320. So for a free item, I'm pretty excited about that. So that's the first piece. Okay, next is a Holly Hobby set of 2 picture frames. Now, these are pink, and if you know anything about Holly Hobby, if you go back and look at some of the Holly Hobby stuff, she was blue. She was a blue doll that was popular in the, I think, 70s and 80s. And so this one's pink, which is a little bit unusual, and it's an embroidery. It's a finished embroidery behind glass, framed. I got these for $3.99 each, so I'm in for $8, and this set sold for, let me just pull that up, $62.99, and the buyer of course paid shipping on that. I very rarely do free shipping, especially would not do it on a heavy item like that. The buyer was all in for $81.89. So keep your eye out for both Holly Hobby and embroidery stuff and vintage, so this is a cross stitch, I believe, but also for vintage nursery items or child's room kind of decor items. Some people like to decorate their kids' rooms, especially young kids, with vintage decor and vintage items. Next, this is something that was in my attic death pile. So I do keep a pretty large death pile. That was on my previous video, and I just, you know, time to resell, start upping my game here, and I pulled this up. I forgot I even had this beautiful Carhartt jacket and had not listed it, but boy was I happy to find it. So this was a Y2K Carhartt, beautifully faded, almost perfect fading. So people who buy Carhartt these days, they don't want brand new. They want this stuff like kind of broken in and rugged looking, and this was just like perfectly faded. So it was because it was still clean and there weren't any stains, there weren't any holes, but it definitely had that worn look. So others of these had sold for about $300 to $400 a couple months ago. I took a best offer on this because I am trying to get the algorithm moving for my store, and I thought it was a great offer for something, especially that had just been sitting up there in my attic death pile. I took an offer of $188, so pretty good. I think I paid about $7.99 or $8.99 for this from my Salvation Army, and the buyer was all in for $200.90. And the buyer was very strategic about getting it. When he gave me the offer, he said, I promise I really want this jacket, and I promise I won't return it, and I'll leave you great feedback if you take the offer. So he was kind of negotiating, not just with money, but with a guarantee of, you know, I promise I won't return it on this big item. And hey, you know, there's nothing wrong with that, right? I also have a couple other Carhartt items that I'm just going to put up here while I'm talking about Carhartt. And I sold these a few months ago before I was really ramping things up. But when we were moving, Mike had a Carhartt jacket and an overall set that he wore all the time. It was his set, and it got really pretty grungy, pretty worn out, but it was still, you know, warm, and still the zippers all worked. He was going to throw it out. He was going to donate it or throw it away. And I was like, slow down, stop. And I threw it down in the driveway, took a couple pictures of it, just laid out on the driveway, and I sold the jacket for $40, and I think the overalls went for, I'll put it up here, but the overalls went for $20 or something too. So that money he was just willing to donate, and didn't really understand that Carhartt is so popular that it's used for utility, of course, but also for fashion. And the grunge stuff is really not a factor in terms of not buying. Now, of course, it's going to impact the price. That jacket didn't sell for $188 like my really cool Y2K jacket did, but it was definitely worth posting and listing. So Carhartt, always a lookup. Next, this is a brand that's new to me. This is a clothing brand, so I sell clothing as well as hard goods. Love selling clothing. I didn't really know this brand, and I actually left this at the thrift store the first time, and it wasn't until I comped it after I'd gotten home and I was thinking about it. Boy, that was really pretty. I probably, if it's there, should pick that up next time I go. Thankfully it was. This is desigual, and this is Spanish for different. The word means different. And they're known for their really beautiful artwork, kind of art to wear, very colorful, very artsy design. They're also known for their asymmetric wear. So this is a really classic piece of desigual, which is asymmetric, paisley, there are sequins, there are beads. It's quite beautiful. So I listed it as boho, festival, it's a tunic, and also I listed it as art to wear. And this brand I started to research a little bit because it has really varying comps. So some pieces go for, like mine, around $38.99, and then there are a few pieces that go really high. And the reason for that is they did try to get into, and I'll post a little bit of information about that, into the more high-end market at one point. I think it said around 2011. They teamed up with a designer and started to move into that high-end market. So you're going to find things all across the range for this brand, but it's definitely one to comp and take a look at. And it's really pretty noticeable. The material, it is very different. I mean, it's well named. It's from Spain, and it's something to keep your eye on for sure. Next, I'm going to include this even though it's not $50 because this got so much traffic. It was just being looked at all the time. I got multiple offers on it. I finally just took a low offer. It probably could have gone for more, but in the mode that I'm in, I was just ready to take it. And this is this Joelle Hawkins studded shoulder bag in gray. It's leather. I have it listed as an edgy and a rocker purse with the studs. The studs are really a thing right now. They're in, and so it got all of this traffic. People were looking at it. So Joelle Hawkins is a designer of bags to keep your eye on. It sold for $34.29. I probably, if I was doing long tail, could have held out for around $50, but I decided to just go with that offer and let it go. I got that in the thread up box that I opened. And so I wasn't real happy with doing thread up boxes. They're surprise boxes where you order them, you open them, and it was called the thread up. It was something like they're for resale, but they need work. They're little projects. So this bag was missing the shoulder straps. So otherwise it was in wonderful condition, but they didn't sell it on thredUP, so they put them in these boxes and they sell them sight unseen mystery boxes kind of thing. It was a thing back a couple years ago. People were doing thredUP unboxings, kind of fun to watch them on YouTube, but I really wasn't too excited about what I got in the box, but a few of them did sell well, and so I'm just sort of earning back some of my money for that thredUP box. Okay, next in the high-end category is this Made in Japan Nenko Mid-Century Modern. So I have it listed as MCM lobster themed ceramic ashtray. Now this sold for $65. Buyer was all in for I don't have the all-in price there, but don't have it listed here. It went to, I believe it might have gone to a reseller or a store. Well, it did go to a store, and I believe they might have bought this to sell, because there are a few of these listed on some of those high-end sites when you comp it that went for, you know, $150 to $200. And I decided to take the $65 offer because I'd had it listed for quite a long time. And again, I just wanted to get things moving. So I paid $1.99 for that at my thrift store. It was in beautiful condition, so it was an absolute definite pickup. I'm sure that I picked that up without even comping it. When I did comp it, I was quite surprised to see how high it really went, but it was made in Japan. So anything made in Japan, stamped made in Japan, is something you certainly want to take a look at with vintage items, and I got really lucky with that. Again, I could have held out, but I didn't. Next is something that I recently thrifted. So I have things that have been sitting in my death pile, like the Carhartt jacket. I have things that have been listed for a long time, like the lobster ashtray, and I have things that I've recently thrifted. So I do want to go out and get some new inventory to freshen up my eBay store, my Poshmark closet. And this was something I got at a very, very brand new thrift store to my area. And it was from Sur La Table, or Sur La Table, right? Sur La Table. It was an enameled cast iron skillet in brand new condition. Absolutely brand new, never used, so not a nick on it. A lot of times enamel will be a little bit banged up here and there. Inevitably it gets banged up through use. This was brand new, it had never been used. So Sur La Table is a high-end store. You might have one in your area, very high-end housewares, primarily kitchenware. They sell Le Creuset, they sell KitchenAid, they sell some of the higher brands. And then they also have like this, their own brand. So this was their own brand, Sur La Table. It was stamped on back. The thrift store had it marked $18.99, but it was a 30% off day, so I got 30% off, and I paid $13.29 for that. And I took an offer of $83.99. Buyer was all in for $109.71. Really great pickup. I knew immediately when I saw it that I was going to be picking that up. Okay, next high-end sale, and I'm just scrolling down through my solds here on eBay for recent days. Again, not quite 50, so I'm going to include this though because it's themed with the vintage nursery, vintage children's stuff. And this is this boxed C.R. Gibson Lucy Rigg memory book. So this is a brand new memory book. It was from 1986. It's dated. It was never used, in really good condition. So mine sold for $39.16 plus shipping. Buyer was all in for $48.41. So all of the things that I said previously about people needing or wanting to gift vintage items or welcome their new baby with a vintage sort of theme applies to this item. This comped out pretty steadily across the board. There were some for 40, some for 45, so it was a well sought after item, and it sold very, very quickly. This came out of my death pile, so there's $40 just, you know, sitting on the floor of my, sitting on the shelf of my attic room. So I was really happy with that. So keep an eye out on those kinds of vintage nursery, vintage kids items. Next, a brand we all know is worth a pickup or at least a look, and this is LL Bean. This is a vintage LL Bean canvas duffel bag. It was real leather as well as blue canvas, and I made a lot of effort to make sure this looked very clean. I stuffed it so that the photographs would show how really nice it was, because if you just laid it flat, it really didn't look like much. So I had some pillows inside of here as I photographed it, and then I used AI to create these really rustic backgrounds. And I am going to do another video on how to leverage AI in a variety of different ways for reselling. Photographs, of course, is one of them, and I'll talk to you about how I do that and why I do it, really. But this sold for, let me go here to the sold portion. This sold for $71.99. That was an offer that I took. And the buyer was all in for $87.09. Got great feedback, was really happy with it. It's got that rustic vibe that people are often looking for from LL Bean. Next, another great sale that was sitting in my death pile. Again, another brand that's just a very well-known brand, but this is an unusual item from this brand. Look at these cool Converse All-Stars. So these are knee highs with all of these cool buckles. They're not made anymore, and so they're very sought after. They are the Converse All-Star Chuck Taylors, but they're almost like a boot, and they have these really cool buckles, almost a really goth sort of punk look. And these are in a dark green, almost an evergreen color. So I got these for $7.99, and they've been up in my attic death pile, just waiting for me to sell them. And they sold very quickly within just a couple of weeks for a best offer of $185. Buyer was all in for $213.14. These did even have a little bit of a flaw, I guess you would say. The zipper worked great. Has the buckles in the front and all these zippers in the back. It worked great, but the tab, the zipper pull, I should say, was broken off. So it just needed a new zipper pull, and that was disclosed, of course, in the listing. And even with that missing zipper pull, they sold for $185. So if you see these, these are an absolute pickup. Even in much poorer condition, people are really looking for them. In fact, I've seen on Poshmark buyers posting in search of posts. So occasionally you'll see that. When I was comping them, I saw people putting in search of a pair of these in a particular color or a particular size. So they're that sought after. Next, a Dooney and Bourke bag. Again, these are brands that we all know are worth pickups. In particular styles. This I sourced recently, so I have some actual video or photos of me finding this in the bottom of a cart. It had not even gone out onto the racks yet. There's a Salvation Army about 45 minutes from my home where I always seem to find great bags. Isn't it funny how some thrift stores just are known for particular, or you find particularly grouped items? In this store, I always find great bags. And sure enough, I went there and found this Dooney and Bourke, and I paid $9.99 plus a 20% off of that. Was it 20%? Yeah, it was 20% off of that Dooney and Bourke. It's the all-weather leather. It was a crossbody. It has that really cool, it had its original, and I think that is important if it has the original charm or bag tag with the, I'm not sure if it's a duck or a loon, or it's a water bird of some kind. And this sold for a best offer also of $68. Buyer was all in for $86.90. So a really nice tidy profit there on that Dooney and Bourke, which was really pretty much a no-brainer as a pickup. Really nice condition. I wouldn't say it was an excellent condition, but it was in nice condition. Next, I'm going to include this, even though I had it in my previous video, just because it sold for $150. And this is because this is the brand Lubiam, L-U-B-I-A-M, made in Italy, and it was a men's linen suit jacket. I won't dwell on it for very long, but it was part of my death pile, and it sold for $150. Buyer was all in for $174.84. So nice sale. And I think, did I have this in? This might have also been in there. I think I'm starting to get down into where I was talking about some of the items that I sold over the past weeks, but this was this Laura Ashley Cottage Roads twin comforter. It sold for $59. And again, I was talking about in that previous video, really take a look at designers who do bedding. And that brings me to the fabulous sale that I had and the learning lesson that I had. Now, every morning, what I do, or not every morning, but most mornings, I do try to watch reseller content, and I try to watch it whenever I can, really, and it's a really good idea. It's a great way to learn from other resellers what's currently selling. And so I put on this video. It was Rebecca, someone I had not watched before, and she talked about Ralph Lauren bedding, which I thought, okay, that's pretty much a no-brainer, Ralph Lauren bedding. But the design was something I really probably would not even have looked at. Being from the Northeast, it's not a design pattern that you see much up here. And frankly, I remember it from like the 90s maybe or so. It was very common, but I had no idea that it was still so sought after. And that is something that's sold on Mercari. Now, I don't really sell too much on Mercari. I never really have all that much luck on Mercari. But I do cross list over there, and I guess I'm going to keep doing it because I had that really great sale. And this was a set of sheets. So it was 2 pillows, two pillow covers, 2 pillow cases, just the normal pillowcase in a standard size, and a top sheet. And it was a double bed. So a double bed top sheet and the 2 pillowcases. It was 30% off of $12.99. So I paid $9 and something for it. The crazy thing is I watched her video in the morning. I went thrifting that afternoon. And as I was at the checkout, I literally just turned my head and I saw them roll out a new rack of bedding, and it was right in the front. I couldn't believe it. It's a pattern you really can't miss. It's the pinks and the oranges. You've probably all seen it in the past. And I went over to it and I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Is this gonna be Ralph Lauren? And when I flipped over that tag and saw that it was Ralph Lauren, I couldn't grab it off the rack fast enough because one of the things that she had advised was just, pick it up. It's really, really sought after. And this sold for a best offer of $170. So I made that, I think my profit was $150, and that was just simply from watching other resellers. So pay attention to other resellers, support other resellers who are giving you good content on YouTube channels. Of course, I love to watch just out of interest and fun, but it really is also a business strategy as well, because you're continuously learning, you're keeping up on what's out there and what other people are selling. So keep your eye out. I'm going to pass along the information. Keep your eye out for this Southwest Aztec sort of pattern that comes in a couple of different designs. And if you can find it, of course, in package, even more so. And you'll notice in my photos, yet again, I have used AI to make sure that the photos are best representing the way that these actually look. So my bedroom that I put these on is a very kind of romantic look to it. In that one bedroom, that guest bedroom, it was the best place to kind of lay it out because the bed was a double, but didn't really highlight that Aztec Southwest look. And so I used AI to create these really cool looks to showcase how it's going to look in a bedroom that's designed specifically for this this decor and this look. So don't dismiss watching these reseller videos, because they really help. And it was just shocking to have it happen in that one day. So that's all I've got for today. And be on the lookout for the AI video. I'm working on that, and I'm really excited to share that with you because it's something that I'm just continuously learning about. I think we probably all are. It's also new. And that should be up probably early next week. So thank you so much for watching. Good luck thrifting out there, and I'll see you soon. Thanks, everybody. Bye.